I've spent over 20 years connecting computers to projectors and external display devices. And this used to be the absolute realm of the Mac. The Mac owned this realm. Everything was beautiful, clean, pristine, and connected right away. And on Windows, it was never that easy, especially in the days of Windows 95 and XP. And I've seen complete presentations aborted because they could not connect. All of that changed with Windows 7 and Windows 8, it's even better. It's nice, it's beautiful. When you combine Office 2013 with that, it's great. I'm also going to give you a few tips for making good presentations that will just help you captivate your audience. And that's the thing. You want to make sure that they're in your message the whole time, whether you're recording it like I'm doing here right now, or it's a live presentation. You're going to draw people into it. Don't be like that guy where I was at one presentation and one of the AV guys said they had this was like at a geriatric association, and it was so boring that one senior fell asleep and fell into the aisle during the presentation. Not a good idea. So let's get started. First thing is, clean up your desktop. I don't care if you don't think you're going to go into your desktop. You probably will see your desktop at some time. And if it's a mess, you can clean it up. But here's the good thing. Windows has a built-in one button for turning all of your icons off. Have a look at my desktop. There it is, nice and clean. Oh, not really. Right-click, View, Show Desktop Icons. Oh, what a mess. Right-click, View, turn that off. Whew. On the Mac, I used to run a third-party utility just to clean up my desktop. Or, I've seen this all the time. You look for a little folder where someone's called it desktop or stuff or something, and they'll move their whole desktop into there and then move it out. And that's not a great way to work, especially if those are aliases or shortcuts to things and you've moved them and oh, it's a whole mess. Next up, hide the taskbar. Down at the bottom, right-click, Properties, Auto hide, okay, and it's gone. Because you know what geeks like me do? If I see your taskbar, I'm going to look at what's running. Oh, what's running on? Oh, and there's a clock, and what time is it? You just want to get rid of those. So now, nice clean desktop, no problem. I'm going to jump into PowerPoint here. And PowerPoint Office 2013 is much, much nicer than any previous version. So Keynote was really king and the gold standard for presentations, and everything was clean and beautiful, and there was a lot of great defaults. Well, they're giving you a lot of amazing defaults here too. I wanted to show you I'm going to start this up, hit my presentation, and show you that yes, we have nice transitions. That's that box transition that Mac users tend to go crazy for, and all of these things. So like I said, this has been cleaned up in Office 2013. It's nice, it's beautiful. I'm just hitting the next arrow key, next arrow key, next arrow key on my computer keyboard, or you can use the mouse. Now let's talk about connecting outside to external devices. I'm connected to a flat panel here at Mac Refugee, and what I also want to talk to you about is all of the different kinds of connectors. I'm connected through, this is my HP ZBook, and I have a DisplayPort adapter. And DisplayPort is the highest, best quality level that you'll get. And when I say DisplayPort, I mean real DisplayPort. This is DisplayPort. This, not this. Too many Mac users call this DisplayPort, and this is not DisplayPort. This is Mini DisplayPort. This is DisplayPort. See the difference? Mini DisplayPort is like DisplayPort, but it's mini. So if you can connect through DisplayPort, that's the top level. The next one is HDMI, and you want to be able to drive that. But here's the thing. If you want to connect out and you're not getting a signal, and this can have nothing to do with Mac, Windows, or your device. It has to do with the switchers that they have at the presentation venue that you're at. Many times they'll take your beautiful pure digital signal and they'll run into some crappy ass switcher to go analog, and it causes problems. So a lot of Mac users will run around with something like this, and because I have Thunderbolt on my ZBook, I can actually use the same devices I used to use on the Mac. So Thunderbolt or Mini DisplayPort to HDMI. That might work, but when it doesn't, and I've had the Apple device not work for whatever reason, I actually grabbed this one from StarTech, and this one actually has DVI DisplayPort, and HDMI in one simple connector. This is my go-to device anytime I have to connect to something. All right, so now that you're connected, you need to present your desktop out there. And instead of these Windows function F7 kind of crap, hit the Windows key, P. Windows P for project or present. And you can see on the right-hand side, I have 4 choices. PC screen only, that means I can only see it. Duplicate, when I click on that, I'm now mirroring this. So this display is now going out to that other device. So when I click down here and hit right and next, so I'm presenting that out. But we also have another mode in slideshow. You can see right here, use presenter view. And by the way, in Office 2013, you can change this from automatic to primary if, again, their switcher is causing problems. So Windows key P, I'll go to extend. Now this is the kind of setup you would have if your laptop was connected to a second monitor on your desk. I'm extending that view. So now when I present, I'm in my presenter's view. So I can see the next slide, I can see the next slide, and all of that. This also has a blackout feature that's great. Click on it and I can temporarily black out when I'm projecting. Now let's talk about bringing in video. Oh, video in slideshows has been the bane of many presenters' world, where the video stutters, doesn't play, it's the wrong resolution. So let's grab a new slide. I'm just going to right click in here, choose new slide. And I'm going to get rid of these things in here. If you just mouse up a little bit, you'll see this little up and down arrow. And that means I've selected that box. Click there, selected the box. So let's go to the insert menu and pictures, online screen. Where the heck is video? It's way over here. Click. Online video means that you have to have a connection, a live connection to that video, kind of scary, or a video on my PC. And I'm going to grab this video here, and it shows up, and I can play it inside there. But oh, it's the wrong size. Well, you can grab these edges and it'll snap to that right size. It snaps very nicely, but you can also go to Format Video, and it opens up a bunch of choices over here on the right. And I'll go to this one for size, open up size. Look at this, best scaled for slideshow. Click OK, there we go. And now watch what happens. I'm going to go to play my presentation. There's my opening. I go to the next slide and uh-oh, I got a black screen. What? And then I go to the next slide. Oh, what happened? My video didn't play. No problem. We go back over here, and Microsoft is very much a contextual program. Office is contextual, so selecting my video brings up playback, and you can see by default it's set to on click. I don't want to do that because you would have to manually move the mouse into the screen and everybody would see it move into the screen and click and play the video. I'm going to the next slide. I want the video to play automatically. Let's make it automatic. All right, so I'm going to add a transition on here. The one I like is this fall over one right there. So I want the front slide to fall over and then play the video. Remember, my video is set to playback automatically. Now let's go look at this. Boom, here we go. It falls back and the video plays. Hit my right arrow button and it goes to the next slide. So that way I could interrupt the playback. Sometimes you want to put a video on there and play the whole thing and it would play and stop, but I wanted to play and stop that. All right, next up, talking about zooming in. And this is more for live presentations. When I'm recording like I'm recording here, I use Camtasia. You might have used ScreenFlow on the Mac or another application, and that allows me to zoom in and highlight areas with a bit more control. But in this example, how do you zoom in on something live? Oh, and by the way, those transitions, before I leave PowerPoint, take it easy on the transitions. I know that people love to add all this eye candy, but trust me, if you're going to do a presentation and you've got more than 3 or 4 of those wacky transitions, you're going to make your audience lose interest, and some of them will actually throw up because they're all disoriented. Relax, just take it easy. A simple dissolve for most of them, or a build of bullet points is fine. But let's talk about zooming in. And again, this was the realm of the Mac that had accessibility features in there to zoom in and zoom out to highlight something specific on the screen. More important these days, because many boardrooms I go into, they don't have projectors and screens anymore. They have flat panel TVs, and some of them are damn small. Like a 42-inch flat panel display for 20 people is tiny. You have to make sure you know how to zoom in. So I'm pressing the Windows key and plus. And look at that, I'm zooming in. Zooming in, and I could zoom further and zoom all the way out. Now I'm going to go down here and show you that this is the magnifier, and what you might be used to with the magnifier is a view where it just magnifies the top rectangle part of the screen, and that looks horrible. That was a previous to Windows 7 kind of thing. Now Windows 7 actually had this in it, this kind of magnifier. The issue was that if your application turned arrow off, and some apps did that, you would not be able to zoom in cleanly like this. Bottom line is Windows 8 stopped all of that nonsense. Now the funny thing is, I've never seen anyone address this kind of comical little guy sitting here. So if you're zooming in and you see the magnifier turn to this little magnifying glass, which is totally distracting and a pain in the ass, just click on it and minimize it. Click, it's now minimized down in here, and you won't see it. So now when I want to zoom in, I zoom in, and I have full control over here. I can use all of my menus and change anything I want. So this will help people watch my presentation, and it will zoom. See, as I get near the edge of the screen, it's going to follow that around. I can have it also follow my keyboard if I want. But that's the one you want. That's built into Windows 8, and it's much, much easier to use. Now another one is audio playback, and I'm going to just get rid of PowerPoint here for a second. And down here is normally where people will click on and change the volume of their audio. But if you right click and choose playback devices, this will get you directly to all the things you're connected to. This will change depending on what devices you have plugged in. Yes, you can go to HDMI audio out on a Windows computer. So I can be sending this out. Sometimes they don't give you an extra 1/8 inch jack or 3mm jack, headphone jack to plug in to get your audio out. So I can send it out here. By default, it's sending out to this device. But if I wanted to, I could right click and set that. This is not connected right now, and I could disable one. So if you're fighting between two of these and one is kind of winning, so to speak, right click on that and disable that one, and then see if it will go out on the other side. All right, so that's taking care of mirroring. Oh yeah, the other thing is, notice that we can also just do second screen only. And the other thing I love about this project to a different screen is it will always be at the setting you're at right now. So you have 4 choices, and the up and down arrow keys and enter key will work. This is great if you can't see what you're doing. Let's say that you were given a desktop and you don't have a laptop and you don't have a screen and you're trying to connect to that projector. You've got 5 minutes before the audience arrives. You can actually hit Windows, P, up, down arrow, and hit enter without even seeing that screen, and sometimes it will bring it to life. Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you, just as a safety, for presentations that are slide-based, I'll use PowerPoint if I want more sophisticated animations and builds that can't be done with something like a PDF. But I will always turn my presentation into a PDF and keep it in my back pocket just in case. Maybe they have an older version of PowerPoint. They don't have the fonts. Something went wrong. At the very least, you can pull out your PDF and free Adobe Acrobat Reader, and you can play it. Now, if you haven't seen Acrobat Reader, it does have a presentation mode. It's Control L for full screen, and then it jumps to full screen, and you can use your right and left arrow to page through. It does have some decent transitions, but all you really need is a simple dissolve or fade between there. So let's try to keep our audiences engaged with really interesting presentations. Make sure you zoom into stuff that needs to be shown and zoom out when they need to see the bigger picture. Also helps you connect to those crappy little TVs in boardrooms that we find ourselves in now. But most of all, clean up your desktop and hide things that will be distracting. So keep the focus on you.